Hey folks, this is Vagrant. Welcome back to Disco Elysium. In the last video, we explored the church, we met the crab man, and we, okay, you know in a hoodie, sorry, this is off topic already, you know in a hoodie where you've got like the tie that kind of comes around and it's on both sides and you pull it to tighten your hood, like it's come out on like one side only and it's really obnoxious and I can't find the other side, and I can't even find the hole for the other side. We've all been there, but it's very annoying. Where is the hole? Why is it not equidistant? What earth is going on? Oh no, there it is, I found it. Okay, right, bear with me. Anyway, yeah, so last video we explored the church, we talked to the crab man, and then this last showed up, because I was playing with her little machine, Du Hali, and we cracked into that and learned all about this game, and this weird silence, and the swallow, and all that jazz, and now we're going to click on the big hole. Hello, big hole.
In white, silver, and apricot faience, the young mother of humanism stands above you. A crack runs across her body. She is impossibly tall, oval-faced and sad, a dark and radiant majesty. This is her innocence, Dolores Day. Cradled in her arms are a pair of glowing lungs, clearly visible from underneath her flowing dress. You should kneel.
I'm not going to kneel.
Cold wind seeps in from the crack in the glass. Snowdrifts cover the floorboards at your feet. Above, you feel her multicolored eyes on you, inspecting you.
I can look up, that's okay.
The woman looks down at you, standing there. She towers among her followers, architects, laymen, courtiers. There is a sad smile on her lips and a glint in her green-blue eye. Of what? Compassion? Remorse? She acknowledges the passing of someone who is still alive. You. No, she doesn't care about you. She only cares about her shiny sovereign's orb and her silk robes and getting to the aerodrome on time. To leave.
Compassion, remorse, mourning, it's not possible to live. She doesn't care about you, she only cares about her shiny sovereign's orb and her silk robes and getting to the aerodrome on time. It's morning. As
that terrible word passes through your mind, the lieutenant draws an X-shaped cross from shoulder to shoulder.
Oh, I have no option, I have to do this.
Your fingertips touch your chest 4 times as you stand in the apricot-colored light of the window. Above you, the woman still smiles, her distant smile, sundered by the crack in the glass.
This is Dolores Day.
Yes. I wasn't sure before, but this must be the DeLorean Church of Humanity in Martinez. It's called the Small Pinewood Church in some records.
You knew of the place?
It's a minor landmark, not easy to find. Most maps misplace it. It was built not long after Ravachol's founding, 300 or so years ago, by first-generation settlers.
Girl's got some big-ass lungs on her, doesn't she?
On the coast of an uninhabited archipelago where only animals had roamed before, in the wild reeds.
Okie dokie. What else do you know, Kitsuragi? Talk to me, buddy.
There used to be 7 stave churches on the coast. Les Sept Sœurs, they call them. The 7 Sisters. Only one remains. The rest were burnt in the revolution or used for building materials. We should be respectful here, although the building appears to be deserted. I do not believe we'll find anything connected to the lynching here. Something else, perhaps?
Respectful? Is the lieutenant a follower of DeLoreanism? A pang of guilt. The lieutenant is leaving something out.
Do you know why it was abandoned?
I have a theory, yes. There was a police raid a while back. I heard the place was shot to pieces.
Damn, why?
Well, your station was involved, I hear. Although I can't be sure.
Oh no, it was me.
How come the lieutenant isn't sure? Is this confidential information?
You're not sure?
3 precincts were involved in the raid, and people say Precinct 41 was one of them.
I don't remember being here, but that doesn't mean much.
I am pretty sure it was a clandestine operation. I don't know anything more about it, why it was conducted, or who participated. I try not to pry into extra-district matters.
If I was here, I should find out what I was doing.
Good luck. You will not get information on a confidential operation from your station secretary just by calling. If you really don't remember, it might be better to keep this one forgotten. It happened a while ago. It's unimportant to our business in Martinez now.
I'm just thinking if I can boost any of these checks before I do anything. Kim, are you a follower of DeLoreanism?
Yes, we all are. Her name, body, and rule are synonymous with humanism. The laws we enforce are DeLorean in origin.
I don't like her. She looks like a lever. Is this a Brexit thing?
The woman looks by in silence, smiling enigmatically.
I didn't think you were spiritual.
It's not spiritual, it's constitutional. The DeLorean system does not demand faith, only accordance.
Okay.
Apricot chewing gum scented one. August 2nd, early late summer. You're getting off the streetcar in Le Jardin, east of the river. Her father and mother are middle class. The nylon of her little jacket rustles next to you in the dark like autumn leaves. Her heels click on the pavement. You're walking up to the gate in front of her parents' house. She takes out her chewing gum and you kiss her. A feeling like electricity flows through your whole body. Immediately, you know that you've entered a completely different world.
It's kind of sad, actually. Plus 2%. Of all the things. Of all the things to give me, what? Is my perception now 11? That was technically maxed out. I don't think it gets any higher than that. Because I think it should be 11. Jesus Christ. Alright, do we... Oh my god, I've got so much clothes. What are we looking for? We're looking for... Perception? Yeah, no. Visual calculus, that was one of them. Okay, let's stick those on. Visual calculus and encyclopedia, I believe, were the two we're looking for. Let's see if we've got anything else. It's really... Oh, there we go. It really is a terrible system. Okay, cool. Yeah, I'll take that.
The mother of humanism stands above you.
Nice.
A precious and complex wax painting on a single pane of glass. A crack runs across the length of her body, her face oval and sad.
Encyclopedia medium 10. Come on, buddy. How did I know this is the mother of humanism?
It's a mystery.
What?
A mystery sprinkled with self-pity and regret. For some reason, unknown to your mind, looking at her delicate eyes makes you feel like you're ready for drowning.
I'm always a little disappointed. If it's above 70%, I'm a little disappointed when we don't make it.
All you know is,
Oh, for God's sake.
this is the young mother of
I didn't have to do that.
humanity, and that you should go. Do something else. Escape her sad, worry-worn look.
Because our psyche's gone up by 1 after we got that last breakthrough in the last video. I shouldn't heal when I'm 1 down anymore, just in case I get healing from something else. I should stop healing with everything until I'm -2, basically, is what I'm saying. Although, what if something damages my morale for 2? Oh no. Visual calculus, reconstruct the cracked glass. You can't fail me twice, game, come on.
A jigsaw of broken shards falls into place in front of you. A ghostly reconstruction of the stained glass window. Before it was shattered, there was an older woman beneath the younger one. And a text. A light motif below them both.
A light motif. What's shattered this mosaic? It looks nice together.
Unknown.
Oh, thank you, visual calculus.
Something during the raid the lieutenant mentioned. Or just hooligans looking for something to break.
Just gave me something to break. Who is this older woman?
The escutcheon on her throne says, Irene the Navigator. She is depicted as an older woman wearing thick-rimmed eyeglasses, holding a golden rights apfel in one hand and a scepter in the other. This is the queen her innocence day advised. Above, she herself is whole.
So escutcheon is a new word for me, so I googled it. And it's basically a keyhole cover. A metal plate that surrounds a keyhole or a lock cylinder. You know, you got your keyhole, you got your little circle, your little rectangle beneath it, and then usually you've got a circle around that of metal where the keyhole is imprinted into it. Apparently, that's called an escutcheon. That's a brand new word for me. I'm going to file that one away and never use it ever again in my entire life.
Small figures of wise men, common men, Worshippers walk up the stairs to stand at her feet. Secret servicemen, Theriers, stand in a row guarding her. It must have taken years to produce this work in all its dizzying detail.
Especially on glass. The motto, what does it say?
Below both women, in luminous black letters, Après la vie, mort. Après la mort, la vie de nouveau.
Okay. Death, death, new? That's about all I've got.
And then, along the left side, Après le monde, la gré. Après le gré, le monde de nouveau.
And you've lost me.
After life, death. After death, life again. After the world, the pale. After the pale, the world again. This is the great leitmotif of humanism, a summary of the effect of the discovery of this isola, the Insulindian, on human thinking. A tremendous sea change akin to finding life after death.
After life, death. After death, life again. After the world, the pale. After the pale, the world again. It's like a cyclical... This is the great leitmotif of humanism, summary of the effects of the discovery of the Isola. Why would the discovery of an Isola have such an effect on how we perceive the world? Lieutenant, this used to say after life, death, after, and it ends off, so I'm assuming we're ever going to repeat it, or he's going to know this.
Death, life again. After the world, the pale. After the pale, the world again. This exaltation is common in Dolorian sacralism. In the early years, it was even incorporated as the RCM slogan. No more, however.
Would be a strange logo for a police organization. Why?
It was deemed subservient to use a strongly moral intern-related motto. We already suspected of bootlicking. The sentence was also seen as too feminine. It was a macho thing.
Okay, so what is it now? I like beer and boobies. It's macho, right?
Justice, union, prudence, and force.
Yeah, that sounds more like a typical police one. Cool, not very feminine. I like the other one better. I like this. Puts the fear of God back in the... Yeah, I like the other one better.
So do I.
Good, I'm glad.
The mother of humanism towers above you. A wax painting on a cracked pane of glass. Nothing has changed in her expression.
It's probably for the best, really. Okay. I don't think there's anything left for us in here, so we can head out on our jollies. And jolly they are, ladies and gentlemen, and jolly they are. Right, well, I mean, we've definitely still got some areas to explore around here. Like, I haven't really been around here. Look, there's a thing. We didn't click the thing. I want to click that. Oh, there's a thing. I want... No, come back. I need a thing. You can imagine why calls become terrible sometimes. Yes, okay, that doesn't make any sense in the context. What is this?
A metal payphone under a yellow plastic dome. You could use it to call someone, unless you're out of change.
Who would I possibly call, however?
You hear the tone. The machine is inoperable. Calling. Still calling. This feels wrong. Should you be doing this?
Yes.
End of tone. Someone picks up.
Who is this person?
Pierre? Is that you, Pierre?
What's Pierre like?
So nice of you to find the time to call me. It gets so lonely. Even the animals have died.
Oh no, I feel bad. What kind of pets did you have?
Are you sure you're Pierre? Your voice, it's different. There. Chrysanthemum.
Her voice is drowned in white noise. Sounds like waves washing a beach, growing in volume until the call suddenly disconnects. You get a sinking feeling. It makes you look if Lieutenant Kitsuragi overheard you. To your relief, he did not.
Oh no, I kind of just want to keep dialing random numbers. One more time.
Calling. Still calling. Again? Seriously?
Leave me
Someone
alone.
with a masculine voice picks up.
Hello, Gerard speaking.
Hello, Gerard.
Hello, Gerard. Technically speaking, you're electricity. No, what you are is a surprise. get his wife on the phone.
Hey Gerard, get your wife for me, will you?
Who is this?
It's Harry, put her on. It's Harry, put her on. I don't like waiting. It's Pierre. Who's Pierre? It's Pierre.
Who the fuck do you think you are talking to me like that?
I'm just gonna hang on. We're just prank calling random people. Someone must have worked hard to smash the plastic though. I don't know why that was necessary, but you know what? It really freaking was. Is that something? No. I have no regrets about doing that. None whatsoever. That was great.
Someone has left an unidentifiable article of clothing on this railing. It smells really bad. It's streaked with dried seagull shit and tangled with pieces of seaweed. A dangling arm suggests that there might be a jacket beneath the crust of filth. It seems likely that it was left in the surf until someone laid it out on this fence to dry out. Unfortunately, that just seems to have stiffened it into a shapeless mass.
Please tell me you're not taking that with you.
I think this is the jacket the idiot Doom Spiral guy wanted me to find.
I'm sure he'll be thrilled to have it returned.
I'm sure he will. I was going to keep it, but I'm not sure I need to keep it anymore.
As you hold it in your hands, it makes an uncomfortable crunching sound.
How did it get so disgusting?
It's a sordid, filthy tale, not for the weak. Are you sure you can stomach it?
Yes.
It occurs to you that you're not even holding the jacket itself, but rather the thick crust of jetsam and seagull shit that ensconces it.
I suspect I may be able to. I might be about to take some physical or mental damage.
It smells like a dead sea creature, tangled in grey strands of seaweed. It must have spent quite some time in the water before the tide deposited it ashore.
Okay, but more importantly, what is the crust made? This could all be pertinent to the case. You don't know for sure.
Somehow, it was carried or dragged to the boardwalk. If not by human hands, then perhaps the feral dogs that prowl the beaches at night.
I had to check my phone again to see what what that word was. Escutcheon. It's our word of the day. Every day we're going to have a new word. Today's is escutcheon.
The faint impressions of many footprints are also present, though it's impossible to tell what kind or how many. Suffice to say, the jacket spent some time on the ground before someone draped it over the railing.
But what happened once it was put on the railing?
The crust is hard. This jacket spent at least a day baking in the sun. Who knows what happened to it then?
How many games would let you find a disgusting old jacket and just ponder on how it on its originations for so long?
Somewhere, high above the city, a pair of seagulls trace loops through the air. They are like the bombardiers of the aerostatic brigades, gliding above a target-rich environment. All of a sudden, the bomb bay doors open, and their white glittering payload rushes to the ground. Splat, an explosion of white on a man's shoe. A curse goes up, but the birds do not hear.
I really feel like I understand the jacket now, and that is somehow important. In some mystical way that we'll never know, it matters. Thank you. Grab some cash all Okay, I suspect I was wrong. I was going to say we can't go any further than this, but we can indeed go further than this. A makeshift roof. Vagrants? Vagrants have tried to make the boardwalk habitable. That tarp will keep out neither rain, nor snow, nor wind, nor vagrants. Like me, I'm a vagrant. This is funnily enough, now that I say that out loud, this is the kind of game I always imagined this channel being about more than anything else, you know? A coin-operated weighing machine hasn't been used for a decade. Vagrants have recently painted the top red. Water drips from it. 2 encyclopedia. Mine. I mean, I don't need perception, if I'm honest. So, those very funky glasses might be worth wearing. I can't see how funky they are, but I'm going to assume very funky. What have I got on my neck? +2 drama. I want that on instead. And we swapped something else. What was it? I don't really want electric. Oh no, I want these. Wait, no, do I? Do I want those? No. I'd rather have these and not be losing out on reaction speed, I think. Can I change my shirt? Any chance? Conceptualization plus? Probably not. Okay, we're getting there, folks. We're looking more and more stylish by the day. Sort of. What is this? That's another postcard. I think I can just flog those, you know, but right now we don't really need the money. Hell written on the back. Could not have been further from the truth. It's the boom years in Caron, the nicest district in Revshall West. It's enjoying a sun-drenched day. Tall and handsome buildings rise from the riverside, steel iron and yellow limestone, with cloud shadows sliding on the facades. Escutcheon. Escutcheon? I've forgotten again. Escutcheon. 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 Remember that. Write it down. Tell your friends. Tell your family. A big wine canister. It's open and empty. Oh, hello, drunk person. Oh, hello, things.
The smell. It's awful and familiar.
What is it?
Don't you recognize it? That hideous pungency. That faintly cloying sweetness. Only death smells like that.
Oh, no, maybe he's not drunk. I mean, maybe he was drunk, and now maybe he's dead.
Something cold wakes in the pit of your stomach. Fear. It is death. It must be.
Heads up, Lieutenant. Something's not right here.
The lieutenant has already brought a handkerchief to his nose.
I'm a proper cop man, me.
There's some tear, an empty cigarette package, and a crumpled kebab wrapper in the trash bin.
Man, I've not had a kebab in so long. All this healthy eating nonsense is going to break my heart. I need a kebab. let's grab some tear. 2 empty bottles of Tallulah vodka and a can of black potent porter is all you find. No, there's more in there. Livis strawberry liquor, plus some Pilsner bottles too. Better not pick them up. They seem unhygienic.
A tragedy.
The lieutenant looks in the can, eyes watering from the smell.
He shakes his head with genuine sadness. Whoever tossed it here was a heavy smoker. The brand name reads Red Astra. Red Astra is the black market version of Astra cigarettes, known for their high tar content. You see traces of mayonnaise and ketchup on it, as well as a tomato wedge. The wrapper reads Shish Kebab Revshall.
I wouldn't really put mayo or ketchup on a... For me, kebab, doner kebab, salad, garlic mayo, chili sauce. Hot chili, not sweet chili.
It's no older than a day or two. No mold yet.
I very rarely have a kebab these days, I just want to point out, but, you know, when you're drunk, it is the go-to.
It's hard to concentrate in the smell. The sea air brings some relief.
Okay, well, I'll talk to the dead guy in a second. The coin-operated viewer has been out of order. This is beautiful, actually. Right, we must be... Let me have a look. We here? Bloody Nora. I mean, that was the church. We went through this area. Remember that up here? There's a Ferris wheel. I don't see no Ferris wheel. It looks like this is the area, though. Hey.
A man lies on the boardwalk. His limbs bent and neck turned at an unnatural angle. Right next to him is an empty bottle of spirits. In his cramped hand, a chewing gum wrapper. Half of his body has slipped between the cracked boardwalk, starting with the right leg. The fall has left him broken, contorted like a sad puppet. The smell is not as bad as a 2-week-old corpse, but it's definitely heading there.
Hold on.
The lieutenant squats next to the corpse and examines his face. 2 bulging eyes stare back at him, void of any signs of life.
Lividity is faintly pronounced. Whoever this is has been dead for 2 days. No longer. We need to investigate.
Another dead body. This is your job. Steel yourself. Calm now. Carefully. Just another day. Just another dead body. Breathe.
See, Kitten. I was going to call him Kits then. That's a cool nickname. Kitsuragi. Kits. Yeah. See, Kits. It's all... I mean, okay, it's maybe not relevant to the case, but this is good, solid police work. Study the clothing.
He's wearing mud-caked boots, beige trousers, and an old brown leather jacket with a bright blue lining. There are traces of kebab sauce on his chest. You find some sunflower seeds and a rain-soaked library card folded into 2. His jacket feels sodden and heavy under your hand.
Good. We should take a look at that library card after this is done.
The man himself.
The man has fallen through a crack in the boardwalk. and hit his head against the metal bench. Coagulated blood covers his black hair. One of his feet is still dangling through the hole.
God, that's a pretty horrible way to go, actually.
You have to be quite inebriated to fall that bad. Well over a litre of pure ethanol. 3 bottles of wine, or 1.5 of spirits.
I mean, it's an okay way to go if you die immediately, if a little embarrassing, shall we say. I mean, yeah, but if you're dead, do you care?
Or maybe it was just dark.
I've been thinking about that lately. There's a song I really like called I Just Want to Sell at My Funeral. And the idea being, of course, that you just want lots of people to care about you. You want to be loved, you know, and for people to care when you die. But then you're dead. And, like, in a way, I think about it. I want to leave my mark on the world. I want to be remembered. I want to leave a legacy. There's things I want to achieve. I want a family one day, probably, that I can pass this nonsense on to, yada, yada, yada. And then you think about the flip side, but you're dead. You just don't care, you know? You're gone. Like, it doesn't matter. We all think, oh, it's really nice to leave a legacy. Oh, it's really nice to do such and such. But you don't care anymore. So I don't think it's when you... Like, if you died suddenly, none of it would matter. It would all be meaningless. The only reason you want to try to cement a legacy, or for lots of people to be at your funeral and all that kind of jazz, is so that when you're on your deathbed, when you're in your dying years, you're looked after and loved, which is a fine thing to aim for, don't get me wrong.
His expression is dull, like the sea behind him. Drops of water shining on his moustache. His eyes, empty and wide, look frightening in their frozen gaze.
I'd like to point out, by the way, I'm saying that all as a very, like, a logical thought, but emotionally, that's not really how I would feel either, so, you know.
Height, 170 to 175 centimeters. Curly hair, stout build. Age, approximately 50 to 60 years.
Oh, oops.
He was confused when he died. Confused and alone, most likely. Overcome with the awful surprise of it all.
Man.
There's some dried blood on the metal bench, right where the corpse's head rests. The floorboards are rotten and slippery wet around the hole. An empty bottle lies nearby. A chewing gum wrapper is clutched in his fist.
Oh no, is it mango flavoured?
Be very, very careful where you step here.
Is that in the man's head?
A dried chunk of blood covers the hair at the back of his head. An open wound. It's sticky and cold to your touch.
This feels like fairly sloppy police work, really, of management of a potential crime scene.
This is what killed him.
I mean, not necessarily.
I don't see any other major wounds, do you?
No.
Seems like the head wound was fatal. It's exactly the shape of the bench.
The bottle?
A .75 liter Tallulah vodka with its cap missing. There's hardly anything left inside. It's mid-market spirits with a slight touch of menthol. The man meant to enjoy himself, have a good time.
Tear all around us.
He looks at 2 other bottles near the coin-operated viewer, then at your yellow plastic bag.
I'd prefer if you didn't collect them this time. It's not proper.
He must think it's super weird that I'm doing it in the first place. Maybe I should stop, but it's not necessary, I don't think.
Grabowski spearmint chewing gum. Green leaves on the cover. The man's mouth is half agape from the terror of the fall.
Alright then.
The blackness of death. Stench. You think you see white chewing gum too. Confirmed. Nearly the whole pack is there. Solidified on his lower rear teeth.
He ate the whole pack, right? It's to cover the smell of alcohol before going home. The worst thing is, I've seen it before. Almost the same scenario. Even the chewing gum. It's always the same.
They screech under your feet ominously. It's hard to say whether the dead man's weight was the cause of the boardwalk to break. It definitely looks fragile.
It's not the cryptozoologist, is it?
You see waves churning below. Something cracks beneath your feet. He could have easily disappeared into the sea through that hole, and you would have never found him. The entire boardwalk creaks in the wind as you take a step back.
Who is this man?
Looks like one of the locals. He'd have to know this spot to come here. You don't just walk over here.
He looks south the way you came.
But that's just a lazy assumption. What do you think?
At least this man knew how to party. Imagine the same scene without the bottle. Now that would be just sad.
What we're witnessing here is the demise of a great party beast. The leather jacket, the empty vodka bottle. Mwah! Bellissimo. Looks like another old drunkard to me. Labelling him an alcoholic a bit premature. I mean, is it he has a bottle of vodka to himself?
And he was married.
The lieutenant points at the ring on the man's left hand, the flesh around it swollen and grey.
But let's try to not run ahead. For now, all we know is that he's an unidentified middle-aged man found dead on the Martinez boardwalk.
It couldn't be the cryptozoologist. It's not the cryptozoologist. But I haven't found them yet. The crypto was with someone else as well. There was two of them. What do you think happened here?
Death by misadventure. He slipped and fell through the boardwalk. A truly unfortunate accident. If it wouldn't have been for that bench, he'd be alive.
Could it be? No, I mean, no, but...
No, I don't see anything that points in that direction. For now, let's treat this case as a simple, albeit sad, accident, unrelated to the murder case.
Yes, but what if there's a killer on the loose? 2 suspicious deaths in such a short time frame.
No, Half-Life, that's very stupid. You're right, connecting it with the lynching is a stretch.
Without any further evidence, yes.
Do you think he was drunk?
Oh, yes.
What about alcohol poisoning and liver failure?
Some symptoms of acute alcohol poisoning could have definitely played a role here. Severe confusion, respiratory depression, unpredictable behavior. But I think that death arrived through head trauma, not liver failure.
What about the kebab? Harry, what about the kebab?
What about it? The deceased ate some kebab. It's probably from a nearby place, maybe in the box.
Sometimes a kebab is just a kebab.
I know that, but I just want to click all the options. Someone should be held responsible for this.
They'll seal this place off after the news reaches the coalition officials. I doubt that they have enough resources to actually repair the boardwalk. Not that sealing it off would keep anyone away. All it does is keep the city council's hands clean.
Bastards.
It does seem to be a pretty straightforward misadventure, although there's still a question of identifying the body.
What should we do with him?
From where I stand, I can see 2 options. We either take the case and follow the leads to identify the body on our own, or we report back to the station and leave this for our colleagues to handle.
We found him. We should finish this.
Alright, we should first examine the library card you found. Then we can call the station from Mike and Emma. Let them know we are taking the case.
Cool. I did like that aspect in that you can ignore a lot of the content in this game if you really want to. I mean, I think if you were barreling through the main quest, you would never ever find this guy in the first place. You would never see the Crabman. You would never hear tell of the Crabman. The game has not brought us over to this western part of the island at any point for, like, the main story. And I've been here for hours. Alright, let's have a little peek. The folded library card. A library card found from the pocket of a dead man on the Martinez boardwalk. It's still slightly damp to the touch. The cover bears the stamp of Jamrock Public Library.
The library card is folded into 2 and still slightly wet to the touch. The front side reads, Central Jamrock Public Library Card, issued to Billy Mejean, expires July 53.
Alright, case solved. Let's go.
Billy is a unisex name. Could be the deceased, or his family member.
Fair point. Let's look inside.
Whoever owns this card is an avid reader. You find a list of books written in blue pencil. Radio thriller. Stand a little less between me and the sun. The last one in the list is The Glinton Curve by M. Theobald. A library stamp indicates that the book has been returned.
I mean, not to lean into the stereotype, but you wouldn't imagine Boardwalk Drunk is a natural purveyor of fancy books.
Most of these titles seem to be in the sci-fi genre. Some thrillers too.
Look at the backside. You just try to stop me.
If lost, please return the card to the library. Dial 005 02 55211 or visit us at Moreau Street, 78, Jamrock. Business hours, 900 to 1800.
Good. We should give them a call from Mike and Emma. See if we can learn anything about Billy Mejean.
Okay. Good start on the dead body. Alright, sweet. Oh. Where's this bloody cryptozoologist, eh? He's gone missing. I feel bad for his wife. She's sitting there all lonely. Wait, maybe... Can I go this way? No. Can I go that way? I can go down there. Okay, that's cool. That's a way to go behind the church. I apologise for all the clicking you can probably hear right now. Oh, what are you doing? Come this way. Did I go up there? This is why you have to click on everything. Because if you click on... Oh. Okay, I don't remember these people. But if you click on everything, it's kind of like in video games where there's enemies, you know? Wait, didn't I... right,
The remaining windows rattled from a strong gust of wind. They're covered in a thick layer of grime. They must have been like this for 40 years.
I think I came here last night, right? But there's no one standing in front of him. Try to see inside.
Dripping water falls from a high place. All you can see is the shadow of a collapsing staircase. There's rust and corrosion on the bars. They're foaming with it. And a small layer of white salt from the sea.
Lieutenant, can you make out what's inside?
No. I won't even try. You know, I had a partner once. They called him Eyes, because he had to show me things. It's that bad.
This partner of his, Eyes, things didn't end well. It saddens him to say his name. Don't even ask. He wouldn't answer. Maybe some other small talk.
That's enough. I'm not going to push him on it. Alright, let's go to... Oh, where there is a staircase, though. Interesting. How is there a staircase? Well, who would... Ah, it's the archaeologist! Cryptozoologist. There's a staircase. I've clicked it. I don't know where... Right, let me talk to these people first.
And Mikhail noticed the windows, especially with how there are no windows on the south side. This was to deal with.
A blonde man stands next to his son, pointing to the weather-worn ruins. He sees you approaching and smiles.
You officers, come to investigate the historic subtext of West Martinez? I'm Tran Heilostam. You must be Kim Kituragi, right? I was just telling my son about this building. Not a lot of people realize the historic significance here. Very rich in hypertext.
Why do you know Kit's full name?
Nice to meet you.
Hypertext?
Yes, hypertext. Young carve and the collection of cultural hyperlinks.
Eh?
He's just making up fancy words. This doesn't mean anything.
What was that about the windows?
Oh yes, so Mikhail. They had to deal with monitor glare, especially in the summer. They still had vector monitors back then. That was 49 years ago. So they didn't have windows on the south wall.
It's actually quite intelligent. You and Kim know each other.
No, I can't say that we've met before, but I've heard of Kim, of course. Mikhail, say hi to the officers.
He rests his hand on the boy's shoulder. The child stays hidden behind the hem of his father's coat, clutching to his worm-themed colouring book.
Mikhail's a little tired today. We spent all night trying to run Orbis on his radio computer. Have you heard of it? It's a programming language used in Grad. Quite tricky, but he wanted to play this Grad-made adventure program. We've been getting really into worms lately.
Who are you? Why are you talking to me?
The man speaks in the artificial cadence of a professor, or someone who's been on too many radio shows.
But I assume you're not here for giant worms when there are so many real things to see. Just as I was telling Mikhail before, this is where the Coalition landed in '08. We could be standing on what is the most interesting landmark in Revachol West.
He points to the building again.
Wow, get a load of this guy. He really enjoys his trivia. The Orbis programming language was named after its inventor, Victor Orbis, a cybernetician from Grad. They run Vox in the Occidental countries.
You look like someone who has money. Do you have any money? What's so fascinating about an empty old building?
Aha! But it's not just any empty old building.
He raises his hand to his eyes, springtime sun warming his handsome face. All four of you turn to admire the mural before you.
What not a lot of people know is, this used to be the R&D department of Felt Electrical. And Felt, which now sells ink cartridges mostly, was once a top dog in the turn-of-the-century cybernetics boom.
I will look at the building.
It looks old and weathered. Seagulls picking apart its stone and metal carcass. Bushy undergrowth has taken hold of the collapsed rooftop. Some kind of bird has set up a nest on a broken windowsill.
I'm just looking at the graffiti. It's really unrealistic. I don't see a single penis. There's a little dude in a top hat. There is a little dude with an arm. There's a There's an unknown from Pokemon. I think that says Pog over there. Don't think I've ever heard of this Feld Electrical.
That's not surprising. Only a vestigial ink cartridge and ferrotape manufacturer remains.
He adjusts his suit jacket.
They started out as a midway electronics outfit in Königstein 2 centuries ago. After an aggressive move to Revachol, Feld became a global player in the emerging personal electronics market of the pre-revolutionary era. Still, Tricentennial was beating them in business machines. But Feld had an ace up their sleeve, or should I say they were developing an ace up their sleeve. I'm mixing my metaphors here.
What was that ace?
It was here in Martinez, possibly in this very building, that they developed prototypes for a tape computer.
He pauses for effect and tell you what, oh boy, he got me, hook, line and sinker.
An elegant folding mechanism of rollers and ferrotape ribbons, portable enough to be a take-it-home solution. Revolutionizing business machines, possibly even bring them to the average consumer, which is a feat of engineering even today's giants, Rehm, ICN and ZAM, haven't achieved yet.
He grins, admiring the sentence he just produced. What happened?
Indeed. What?
The revolution!
Hello, small child.
Unfortunately, their moonshot project never made it to the market. Feld's move to Revachol backfired. The revolutionary government liquefied their assets and expropriated those very advanced prototypes. Possibly from this very building, or one of the adjacent ruins.
He pauses, pointing to the other building, then continues.
All of this was built by Feld, even the boardwalk. Wild Pines built Martinez proper as a resort for their middle management. Feld built this side of town for R&D.
Look how much I'm about to ask about this random-ass old electrical company. For no reason other than world building. I really appreciate that. But I can see why some people don't love the game. Because you have to try to care about this kind of stuff, you know? You're saying the Feld Electrical built the boardwalk?
Yes, they even built a pleasure wheel, but that got destroyed in the war.
Ah, my map must be outdated.
A pleasure wheel?
The lieutenant looks wistfully at the horizon, as if picturing gondolas rising to the sky.
Perhaps reminded of a childhood memory. It's clear he would prefer there were a big wheel, lighting up the coast.
I would prefer if every single coast on the planet had a big wheel. Never mind, you got your Hawaii beach holidays. Stick a big Ferris wheel there. Golden.
Yes, to lure in their star engineers. This part of Martinez was nothing but reeds before Feld arrived. They had to make the prospect of living here attractive. It was supposed to become a global center for innovation in cybernetics. But history had other plans.
What happened to the engineers, the company people?
Oh, I'm afraid it didn't end well for the boys. But this story is a bit too dark for little Mikhail here. Now, if you were to ask about tape computers...
Look, your kid's gotta get used to the world eventually. Just tell me about the brutal murders and such.
He means that the boys got shot by the communists. The boys were bourgeois.
Turn to Mikhail. He means they all got shot in the head because they were bourgeois. Now, do you know what the bourgeoisie is? Can't do that to the child. Tape computers, right?
Tape computers.
What did the revolutionaries do with those advanced tape computers?
They used them for military communications, but also to write and send out press releases. The most notorious example being Le Decret de Mars.
I'm sure the kid is used to standing there while his dad recites all this.
What's the Mars Decree? I mean the radio transmission sent out to news agencies and world governments by the newly created Commune of Revachol on the 7th of March in the year 02.
He's quite quiet, isn't he?
A short-lived legislative foundation for a short-lived utopia.
It's a beautiful piece of text, actually. A singer-songwriter I know, Charette, called it a love poem to Revachol on her political concept album, Bon Baiser dans ce Lind. You should read it. Every local library in Revachol stocks a copy of the decree. I tried to get Mikhail to memorize it. Tried to. Someone was much too interested in worms to be paying any attention.
Well, worms are definitely more interesting, so...
The kid takes a peek at the green and silver worm on the cover of the book, already forgetting about this part of the discussion.
Look, I mean, history, the boardwalk, all fantastic. Crazy things happen under the boardwalk, as we all know. But worms, yeah. When they say worm, I imagine, tremors, graboids, basically. How did those... I mean, they're not really worms, but they're worm-esque, aren't they? How did those tape computers work? Did they work like radio computers?
Actually, no one knows. No one even knows what a computer made entirely of tape would look like. But word has it, they were very elegant, exquisite, alien-looking turn-of-the-century hardware.
He raises his finger, remembering something.
Buckle up.
I'm buckled.
10 years ago, I did a little freelancing, I guess you could say. I was a special consultant for an exhibition at the Wompty Dumpty Dum Center in Vredefort, Oranje. It raised the same questions, and we had lengthy discussions with Paul Ockerman, who was head curator at the time. This was before the twins Keith and Guy Hughes joined the team, trying to...
I would happily drop all of my career goals to go work at the Wompty Dumpty Dum Centre. I mean, who is going to turn down working at the Wompty Dumpty Dum Centre?
Wait, did he just say Wompty Dumpty Dum Centre?
Thank you, reaction speed, exactly.
What the hell is a Wompty Dumpty Dum Centre? And who the hell are Keith and Guy Juiced?
What are you talking about?
The Wompty Dumpty Dum Center for Contemporary Art. The exhibition itself drew on Lagerman's notion of memory, and so there were some parallels. That's why the head curator, Paul Ockerman, chose to...
You're making this up. Kim, is he making this up?
In fact, I'm not. The Wompty Dumpty Dum Center is a place you can visit if you're ever in Vredefort and are ever in the market for an exhibition space / contemporary art research center. But perhaps I should return to the tape computers. As I was saying, the device itself was very elegant, fragile even. One could write directly on the tape using a special chemical solution. The machine would then analyze the handwriting, perform operations, and project output onto a white screen. It was a beautiful, delicate thing.
Made of black film and folding tape structures.
Cool.
Very, very cool. Though I understand the socio-economic causes of the revolution, it pains me to imagine the revolutionaries setting fire to this precious device. But so they did. The failed playback experiment vanished into the fires of 07.
The failed playback experiment.
Yes, the official name of the prototype. Some sources report it as the failed playback experience. But those are incorrect.
This man can talk for Britain, can't he? Jesus Christ. You know what? If I was on a date with someone and they were talking like this, I would be super into it. It might not be the most individually interesting thing, but there's something very attractive and appealing. And I don't just mean like romantically attractive, although I realised I just went straight for a date. But if I was talking with someone in person, whether romantically interested in that person and their chosen gender, etc. or not, there's something very appealing about people who know tons about a topic and are like super passionate about a particular topic. Being very knowledgeable and very adept is obviously attractive, but there's something attractive about just passion and desire and like interest in its core, you know? It's snowing. It looks like it's snowing.
Who knows? Maybe it was an accident, or maybe they didn't want the technology to end up in the wrong hands. Either way, they're all gone now. All 3 versions of the prototype. Nothing but debris and ashes remain inside that building.
He takes a step back. The boardwalk creaks mournfully in the wind.
But of course, what else?
Thank you.
No, thanks to you for having me and little Mikael here to pick your brain. A very interesting conversation indeed.
I didn't contribute,
Pick
but...
your brain. If anything, this was rather one-sided. He did the talking. Whatever.
Thank you. I just... So often I'll say something and the game's like, yeah, let's say that. I posited last video that eventually you would be able to say something yourself physically and the game would be capable of responding, right? That's what I said last video. And I tell you what... Why is there a staircase there? It's throwing me fully... I tell you what, it's happened so many times. Wompty Dum Centre. I mean, I could get it very quickly. Why would I... Is it just so I know about the Wompty Dum Centre? God. Alright, off we go. Let's go talk to our cryptozoologists. Have we been down here? No, let's go... I can't get around there. Right, let's go this way. I mean, they must be the cryptos, right? The crypto geeks? Tiny cages, carefully constructed. Don't get me wrong. The soggy logs smell of ignition fluid, still they won't light up. If I could make a living as a cryptozoologist, you better believe I would be all over that. These heavy military blockades are riddled with bullet holes crumbling. Like, if I could have anyone's life, Josh Gates' life, I'd be like, yeah, that will do for me, thanks. A boy bobs in the water. The number one it says 11. Alright, hello boy, you've got a hat, so I'm going to talk to you first. I think they've both got hats. Almost impossible to get a fire going this near to the ocean.
Here we go. Nice and easy. No way out, little guys. Not out of this jam.
What are they looking for again? It's something that looks like a stick. Or like a reed?
There's a cylinder on the ground in which the man is arranging some netting. It looks like some kind of trap. He notices you.
Who's there? Oh, the police. Hello, officers.
Do I look like an officer? I guess Kitsuragi does, but I look like the crazy person he's apprehended.
Is that the police? Why are the police here?
Morel, the cryptozoologist. Gary, the crypto-fascist.
Don't worry, Gary. I'll handle it.
He looks like a cryptozoologist. You must be Morel, the cryptozoologist.
To what do I owe the pleasure?
That's sarcasm. He takes no pleasure from your appearance.
Lena sent me. She's been really worried about you. Is waiting for you to get back.
Of course. Thank you for passing along the message. That damn water lock is broken, and we can't go all the way around the 881.
I fixed it though, buddy.
The 881 is a raised motorway that separates Martinez from Jamrock. The labyrinth of streets underneath it makes it difficult to pass, not like walking over a nice waterlock.
I did not realise until just now that we were responsible for the waterlock being broken. It's fixed. Don't need to know anything else.
Oh, good. We should really be getting back. Gary could use a hot shower and a warm bed.
Did he say we can go back now?
Yes, Gary. We can go soon. If you see Lena, tell her I won't be long.
Alright, Morel.
Sir, your wife is waiting for you.
I just have to do one more round. See if the phasmid has taken the bait. Then we're going.
He refastens a bit of netting that's come loose in the wind. Okay, now this is a conversation I'm into. Tell me about these cryptids. Tell me about this phasmid you're looking for.
Well, first of all, it's damn difficult to find, which is why we've been knee-deep in the reeds laying traps for it.
What makes it difficult to find, Morel, the cryptozoologist?
Good question. Being a phasmid of the order Phantasmodea, a ghost insect, it disguises itself as plant matter. In this case, the reeds. Awful lot of reeds around, aren't there?
Hurrah.
And I suspect it may have also developed other specialised techniques to protect itself from predators, or scientists, in our present case.
Yeah, 6-1. What sorts of specialised techniques is the phasmid using to hide itself?
It's my hypothesis that it has evolved certain electrochemical defences that allow it to interfere with animal perception, impeding pattern recognition, confusing the visual cortex.
I feel the direction this is going in is that it's able to completely hide itself as a reed, to the point that it just looks like a reed. This is very typical cryptid defense mechanism. What are we going to do with this skill point? Because if we're going to put it in a Thor, we should do it now. I like the ones that are long because it makes me think it'll have a bigger bonus. I don't know if that makes any sense whatsoever, but that's kind of how I think. That one concerns me though, because it takes ages, but it doesn't cost me anything. Oh no, I wanted this one, didn't I? Yeah, I do want this one. Unlock. Boop. Boop. We're going to get Fairweather T500. I'm probably just going to fill that thing up and then go back to spending skill points.
But I cannot describe how these defences work, much less how they evolved, without studying a live specimen.
How big is this phasmid?
I'm expecting it to be quite giant. One known species of phasmid, called the Megaphasmodea zoensis, is about the size of a grown man's forearm. So,
I swear there is a Chinese theropod with Zuensis in its species name. Well, that'd be the genus. No. It would be the species.
Seems puny, to be honest.
Why are you so interested in the stick bug? Aren't the most sensational animals out there?
Typical rookie assumption. Insects are much more sophisticated creatures than those unversed in zoology give them credit for.
Very true.
Even simply catching a glimpse of the Insulindian phasmid would be the apex of of any cryptozoologist's career. But to study it and its defences, find out how it stayed hidden so long.
Cryptozoologist's career, a slightly oxymoronic sentence.
Would be glory itself.
What have you discovered so far?
Very little, I'm sorry to say. no one's ever captured a specimen, so all our information is based on first and third-hand accounts.
No one's ever found one.
Not yet. That's what makes it a cryptid.
That's what makes it bullshit.
Just out of curiosity, if there's no proof of its existence, how do you know it's real?
I know it's real.
The cryptozoologist says, brusquely enough that even he seems taken aback by it.
It's clear that his obsession with the phasmid is driven by something more than the pure pursuit of scientific advancement.
By which I mean, I've heard enough first-hand accounts to believe quite firmly that the Insulindian phasmid is more than mere superstition.
Okay. People have been seeing the Chupacabra. Have I talked about the Chupacabra in this playthrough? I may have done. I talked about the Chupacabra quite a lot, but I'm going to talk about it again. People have been seeing the Chupacabra for decades, since it first got mentioned in the 1970s. Now, you tell some people that Chupacabra only originated in the 1970s, a lot of people won't believe you. They think it's some ancient beast from days gone by in Mexico, but that's wrong. It's something else. The Chupacabra itself, with the name Chupacabra, is from the 70s. And it wasn't even Mexico, it was, I want to say, Puerto Rico, where it was first talked about with the name Chupacabra, goatsucker. And of course now it's a huge thing, and anytime animals die, they all think it's a Chupacabra. So when the Chupacabra was first discovered, it was a farmer, and she had some of her cattle die, and she saw this beast run off into the forest. And she described it, because the Chupacabra is now often depicted as like dog-like in a way, but the way she described the Chupacabra was a small bipedal alien-esque creature with like these big eyes and stuff like that. I can't remember the exact definition. And that's how she described it. Now, as it happens, she had been to the cinema earlier that week to see the hit film Species. Not really a hit film, it was fairly terrible. But she'd gone to see Species, which was it the 70s? Maybe it might have been the 80s. Let me double check this. Species release date. 1995. God, is it the 90s when Chupacabra came about? God, it might be. That's mad. Chupacabra came about in my lifetime. I remember writing about the Chupacabra when I was in, like, school. Maybe it wasn't Species. It could have been something else. She'd gone to see some alien horror film, and the creature she described to the journalist was identical to the one in this film. I think it was Species. God, could it have been the 90s? That's so late. She described the creature from Species, and clearly she'd seen the film, had some nightmares, and then decided that was the cryptid that had been killing her livestock. And that story just spread and spread and spread and took on a life of its own. And now this scared woman who saw a dog in all reality, or a gremlin child, or whatever she saw, says she saw the Chupacabra, or well, they called it the Chupacabra, they coined that name. And it just spread, and here we are, 30 years later nearly, talking about it. And it's a thing, and I saw a film with it the other day, and it was terrible. And it looked like a big gremlin. The point is, cryptozoology is full of stories like that. Okay, another interesting one, we're talking about this now. There's a creature called the ropen. I think it's Papua New Guinea. And it's essentially a pteranodon. It's a pterosaur of some description, right? And it lives in the hills, and it uses its big old beak to break into graves. You know, the people of the island that it lived on. I can't remember the name of the island, but, well, maybe it was just Papua New Guinea in general. They often have their dead buried in the mountainside. And grave robbers go in and obviously ransack the graves, but people are blaming the ropen. And it was first discovered by missionaries back in the early 1900s. Christian missionaries. And that's very important. So nowadays it's this big furry pteranodon, and it's got like a chest that glows red, like its stomach glows red when it flies for some reason. But it was initially discovered by Christian missionaries. No real accounts of it or anything like that, just a few first-hand accounts, no photographic evidence, of course. You know, it's a giant pteranodon that glows red at night and breaks into graves. You'd think somebody would have snapped a photo by now, but there's a good reason they haven't. And people are like, well, why would a Christian missionary want this to be the case? But of course, there's a lot of Christians who are quite into the idea, and it's a fairly prolific thing in cryptozoology, in that you'll have a lot of dinosaur-esque or, you know, extinct creatures from around that time, like pteranodon. Obviously not dinosaur, but you get my point, from the same eras. And they, what was I saying? I've lost myself. A lot of Christians, a lot of young Earth Christians in particular, of course, are quite into the idea of dinosaurs and dinosaur-adjacent creatures still living with us, because that kind of supports the idea of a young Earth. It's not so much that, oh, dinosaurs never existed, like some people go for. It's more that the Earth is so young, it's only 3,000 years old. Well, if there are dinosaurs, you know, they must still be here, basically, because there was no great extinction, obviously, and the Earth's only been here for 3,000 years, so the dinosaurs must still be alive. So there's a lot of cryptids, dinosaur-esque cryptids, that were originally, inverted commas, discovered by Christian missionaries. Papua New Guinea, in Africa in particular, Makolo Mbembe, in the Congo, which is like a sauropod. There's also a Tyrannosaurus rex, essentially, that was discovered, inverted commas, I believe also in the Congo. I can't remember its name now. My point is, cryptozoology is really fascinating to me, and it's not because of the animals themselves, because the animals themselves are, by and large, nonsense. One or two may turn out to be true. Not things like the rope and not things like the chupacabra. One or two may turn out to be true. It's just an undiscovered species. It's not going to be anything too out there, though. It'll be like giant squid kind of things. But the mythology behind cryptozoology and the folklore and the folk tales and the way the stories spread and the way their origins, it's always really interesting. And that's why I'm really into cryptozoology. It's because of that stuff, rather than thinking there's a chupacabra barreling around the deserts of New Mexico. Anyways, I've talked enough now. Lena said there'd been a sighting of it here in Martinez.
Yes, the most recent sighting was by a couple of teenagers along the coast here. That's what brought us to Martinez specifically. It's the first credible sighting in several decades. Admittedly, it's an unusual location for this species, but with all the sewage runoff upstream, it probably doesn't matter much anymore.
Maybe it died out?
I have to resist the thought. Such an extraordinary creature is doubtlessly highly resilient. After all, it's generally thought to be capable of parthenogenesis.
Parthenogenesis is, I thought parthenogenesis. Parthenogenesis is a process of asexual reproduction, basically.
He means asexual reproduction. The females of the species don't need to mate to produce viable eggs. This makes it easier for a species with a small population to survive.
I didn't have to tell you that, because obviously the game has decided to pop in, but it has been seen in a few animals, a few different types of monitor lizard in particular, and a few other different types of animal outside of the vertebrates. The only reason I learned what parthenogenesis is because Blue in Jurassic World created Beta via parthenogenesis, and it was only mentioned in a little side thing in a video game I didn't even play, Jurassic World Aftermath. But I remember hearing about it. I even did a video on it at some point, and then I believe it got taken down because Universal were very annoyed with me as per usual. It's pretty clever.
Yes, the Insulindian phasmid is a very clever insect. That's why it's so damn difficult to catch. But as a scientist, I'll try my best to remain dispassionate.
Okay, well, we need to talk to him a little bit more, but we also need to end the video. So we are going to end it there. Next time, we'll have a little chat with these two. I don't think I found a nice place on the coast to have this date yet, but we'll have another go at that on the way down as well. But then I think we're done and we're going to go back to the east. Before we talk to anyone else about the main story, I would like to go talk to Everett Clare again and get that missing gun... Gunny, as it will now be called. I want to try to get Gunny back, so we're going to talk to Everett Clare and try to get that going as well. But yeah, successful day. Thank you very much for joining me. I will see you lovely folks very soon. Cheers much love as always. Hemdall? Oh, that's from their Conan the Barbarian kind of thing. Anyways, thanks for joining me. Cheers much love as always. Bye-bye.